We all know about Sonic Generations, one of the best, if not the best game in the entire franchise. However, around the time of Sonic Generations, numerous Sonic games were getting different versions on weaker hardware. We had Unleashed on the Wii and PS2, Colors on the DS, Lost World on the 3DS, and Unleashed on Java phones. And the topic of this video, Generations on the 3DS. Most of these other versions have their fans. While the console versions are almost always the preferred version, there are die-hard fans for the second versions of these games, who prefer the second versions over the main ones. However, this is not the case for Gen's 3DS. I do not see a single person prefer this game over the console generations, and I think the exact same way. I'm not here to drop some new outlandish take. I just thought, since I reviewed Sonic Generations and Shadow Generations already, I thought I might as well review the final Generations game. And I have a decent bit to say, so let's get right into it. Starting off, this game's story is utter crap. It's the story of console generations, which was already pretty bad. However, they removed all of the fun character interactions, and on top of that, the cutscenes are PNGs sliding across the screen. And I refuse to believe that they couldn't compress the cutscenes from the console version in order to fit on the 3DS. I'm pretty sure that's what they were able to do for Lost World. So there's no reason they couldn't have done it for this game. And on top of that, Generations cutscenes were nowhere near the caliber of Unleashed. So yeah, the cutscenes suck, and the story overall sucks, and has no redeeming qualities. It's truly a shame. The gameplay in this game is kind of weird. Just like the console generations, this game is split up into two gameplay styles, Classic and Modern Sonic. Classic Sonic in this game plays really similarly to the actual Genesis game, surprisingly enough. Also, the first three stages in the game just rip the exact level design from the original Genesis games. So I guess they just want to do as little work as possible, which makes me surprised they didn't just use the original sprite art of each game, instead of remaking every level. However, after the first three classic levels, Classic Sonic gets the homing attack, and the rest of his levels range from mid to bad. However, the main draw to this game is definitely the modern levels. Unlike the console game, Modern Sonic does not have any 3D sections. Instead, he has the Rush-style gameplay that was featured in not only the Rush duology, but also Colors DS. All of those games were really good, and honestly, this game is almost on par with Colors DS, gameplay-wise. One thing that sucks is the lack of the trick system. The trick system was by far the best part of the gameplay of Rush or Rush Adventure. It was so good that it came back in the console version of Generations, but somehow they couldn't bring it back in the handheld version. Why? How does Frontiers have the air trick system, but Gen's 3DS doesn't? However, other than that, the game controls really well in my opinion. The gameplay feels really snappy and responsive. However, the level design is where the real stuff begins, because it's actually pretty good. While it isn't the best level design possible, it is really fun and is good for short bursts in a handheld setting. There are numerous perspective shifts to make it feel somewhat 3D, and on top of that, there are some actual good shortcuts and alternate pathways. However, the main thing that sets the 3DS version apart from the console version is the unique stages. Green Hill is in both versions, but other than that, every stage is different. The console generations had 9 games represented with 2 stages for each hedgehog, making 18 stages. However, the 3DS version has 7 games represented, making 14 stages. The new stages are Casino Night, Mushroom Hill, Emerald Coast, Radical Highway, Water Palace, and Tropical Resort. However, a lot of these picks suck. This game was supposed to represent the handheld history of the franchise, but only one level is from a handheld game. No, Tropical Resort does not count. And considering that the handheld games have some of the best stages in the series, it's truly a shame. I mean, come on, no Sunset Park, no Altitude Limit, no Music Plant. Instead we get freaking Mushroom Hill. Come on, man. However, the bosses half make up the slack. The rival fights suck in this game, because they're not even fights. The best way to describe them is that they're Sonic Speed Simulator drag races, so they're boring as sin, just a straight line with nothing to do. However, the actual boss fights are pretty good. Big Arm, the Bio-Lizard, the Egg Emperor are not only great fights, but also just really fun in general. And even the Time Eater is a really good boss fight and easily surpasses the console version's pathetic excuse for a boss fight. Lastly, there are special stages in this game, unlike the console version. And this game brings back the Sonic Heroes special stages, but actually makes them control well. And honestly, this just makes the Heroes special stages look even more pathetic, because now that they control well, they're actually really fun. The presentation is alright. The game looks presentable. For a 3DS game, it looks pretty alright, but honestly, overall, it's a pretty solid looking game. And the soundtrack, while not being as good as the console version, is still pretty solid. Overall, there's not much to complain about. It's just fine. Overall, Generation 3DS is kind of alright. I mean, there are some bad aspects, there are some good aspects. Modern Sonic is pretty fun. However, the whole game just suffers from being very cheaply made. It's clear as day that the game was rushed and had little to no budget. I mean, why else would the cutscenes look so bad? Why else would the game have 14 stages instead of 18 like the console version? Why else would the classic Sonic levels be so lazily designed? But overall, I mean, it's still fun. I mean, it's like a 6 out of 10. I'd probably still play it on my own, but at the end of the day, it's a flawed package. But that's all from me. If you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to like and subscribe. We are really close to 1,000 subscribers right now, so that would be real cool. So yeah, that's all from me. Peace.